Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and Napoleon Hill in his own way all said the only path to success is to take massive, determined action. Welcome to McBain Moments. Alright everyone, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Make sure you take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. So Tony Robbins actually said the direct quote, but both Grant Cardone and Napoleon Hill have said the same thing, or something similar enough for it to be them paraphrasing each other. Or I should say the previous two paraphrasing Napoleon Hill, since Napoleon Hill is dead, I think, before the other two were born. So, action. Action is the key to success. You can't win if you don't act. Think about that for a minute. If you don't figure out what activities it takes to get the job done, you aren't going to succeed. And inevitably, it's going to take 10 times the activity you expected it to get to where you wanted to go. I think it's a bit of a paradox. We all know the actions we need to take in order to get where we want to be. We all know the good things that we need to do. We all know that we have to build ourselves. We all know that we have to get there. We aren't always willing to look at the amount of effort necessary to complete the task. And it's a problem, because without that effort, we're never going to get where we want to go. And inevitably, it's going to be more effort than we expected it to be. And yeah, that can be disheartening. It's like, well, I did all the right things, but you didn't do them enough. Doing it once doesn't work. You got to keep doing it over and over and over. You've got to grind on. And it's really interesting just how much of this all comes back to that old phrase that Big Industries uses for all my EU players. Embrace the grind. It's all about embracing the grind. It's all about muckling down and not giving yourself alibis and excuses and just doing the damn work. You will get there if you put the effort forth. And it might be more effort than you expected it to be. And in fact, it's almost guaranteed to be. But you'll get there. Because as long as you're willing to put the effort forth, you will get the results. You know, the phrase, and I can't remember who said it, it's in one of my previous McBain moments, so go searching through the playlist. Success is a science. You put the input in, the output is the results, the output is success. That's all it takes. It's just like feeding a fire. Every time you put an effort in, every time you put an iteration of activity in, you're putting wood on the fire. But it doesn't work if you're putting kindling on the fire and that's all you're stoking the fire with. You're not going to end up with a blaze. You're going to end up with this tiny ass little thing you can't even cook on. So you got to build the fire up, and then you got to start putting logs on. You know, you start with sticks, which by sticks I mean, you know, chopped wood. And then as it gets bigger, then you start dropping logs in there. And that's where the success comes from. You build it up. See, it all comes back to that principle. We always talk about the principle. It all comes back to it. You build it up. Go from the tinder, the pine twigs, and that's your early efforts in figuring shit out and deciding what you want to do. And that gets the blaze going. You hit it with the flint and steel, and it sparks up. And then you start adding the little tinder. And then you start adding the twigs. And then you add the light sticks. And then the cut cordwood, which, as someone who cuts wood all the time, we call sticks, but they're actually like this big. And then you start adding whole logs. And now you've got a bonfire. That bonfire is the success that you deserve. But you can't get there until you get the little pine needles to catch. You don't get the pine needles to catch without the effort. And it doesn't build up without more effort. You don't move on to the bigger twigs and the sticks without the effort. You don't get the bonfire without the effort. And it's constant, massive action. That's why I make a video every single day on this channel. That's why on Tuesdays and Fridays I spend an hour and a half or more live streaming. In addition to my 9 to 5. In addition to the articles I write on McBainManor.com, which admittedly I need to put more work into. In addition to the book I'm writing 1,500 words a day. Massive action. Bigger efforts. That's how you get where you want to go. And I'll admit, I didn't really think that it was as much action as was necessary until recently. I thought, no, it can't be that much extra. No, it's that much extra action. More than that. Keep going, more action. Throw some more on there. It's like that old WoW video. Throw more dots. More dots. No, more dots. Keep the dots going. Because that's what it is. Your actions aren't the single cooldown attacks. That's not what you're building. You're not building the massive, what the hell do they call it? It's been a hot minute since I've played WoW. It's not burst DPS you're doing. They're dots. All you're doing is throwing dots. That's all it is. That's all effort is throwing dots. You throw enough dots, you're going to do the damage. The burst damage, yeah, it's a great injection, but it's not going to get you where you want to go. It might get you a step, but you're not going to beat the boss on burst damage. It's the dots. It's the long term. Because guess what? That boss doesn't stop having more hit points. It levels up with you. So to make sure you keep winning, you got to keep throwing the dots. Massive action, my friends. That's all it takes. And believe it or not, it's not as much effort as you think it is. It just looks like it. This has been a McBain moment.